Everybody loves dads, stories, and the Marine Corps. What could be better than Marine Corps dads who tell stories? Here's another story with veteran storyteller John Sugar Jr., a Marine Corps dad.
Tonight, we're going to tell the story of the life of a snowflake.
You just told that.
Once upon a time, in the sky, water turned into a gas. And it floated up into the atmosphere until it got very high in the atmosphere, where it's super freaking cold. And the gas water became ice. And it hung out there. But because it was a gas that turned to ice, this turned it into a fluffy white cloud. Now this fluffy white cloud ambled across the sky, happily floating upon the gusts and eddies of the upper atmosphere, until the cloud started to put on some weight as more and more water sucked up into the cloud and became ice, and the cloud started to sink. Sinking cloud, and came closer to the earth. And as it got closer to the earth, more water gathered in it, because it was basically a giant gaseous ice cube. And more water sucked into it, became ice. Heavier and heavier and heavier, until the cloud said, "I gotta let this go. I need to work out." And the cloud started to do push-ups. And what do you do? What do you get when you start doing push-ups? Sweat. And the cloud started to sweat. And so drops of water, bing, came out of the cloud and started to fall, but they were little ice crystals. They were snowflakes, which you didn't know was cloud sweat.
Yuck.
From clouds doing pull-ups, and you guys are all running around out here with your tongues out. Ah. Little did you know.
And eating those.
Cloud sweat.
Ugh.
And then the snowflake began to sing the snowflake song. And then a piece of wind got it. And he was like, "Ah!" And that's how his song, "Ah!" And he went straight down towards there. And he looked down. And he was like, because the snowflake was scared of heights. And the snowflake went, "Hmm?" "Ah!" And started to scream. "Ah!" And you know what you hear? Whenever the snowflakes are falling towards the ground, all you hear is, because they have such tiny voices. But if you get closer, listen to the snowflakes. Save me! Snowflake going to the ground. And hit the ground. But he landed on a whole bunch of his brothers and sisters. A whole bunch more cloud sweat, as it were. And lay upon the ground in a fluffy white blanket of snow. And the snowflake said, "Ah, this is a good life." A hand scooped through the snow, grabbed him and a whole bunch of his brothers and sisters up into the air. And the little snowflake said, "Wah!" as he went back into the air. And then he saw the other hand. Oh no. As it packed him and his brothers and sisters into a ball. And he said, ha! And then the arm went back like so, and vamoosh! Ah! He and all of his brothers and sisters, flying through the air, and pasted a small child in the back of the head. And the snowflake said, oomph! And the small child said, oomph! And nobody was happy. And the snowflake fell out of the snowball. And fell onto the back of the child's neck, where he melted back into water. And he said, oh no, because that little drop of water started to fall down the child's shirt. And the child said, ha! Because it was cold. And the snowflake said, no, 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 no! And disappeared into the child's underpants, where he soaked into the underpants. No! He was trapped forever. No! And if you listen closely to your underpants, you can hear all the snowflakes stuck forever. And that little child went about its day, not hearing the tiny screams which proceeded from its underpants, until it came inside and it was time to take a bath. And this small child took all of its clothes off and put them in a pile. Not in the laundry basket that was right next to the pile, which made everything easy. Instead, the child put it on the floor. It is not a place for your stinking clothes. But anyway, and the child got into a bathtub with a bunch more water in it, all of whom saw the naked kid butt on its way and started to scream in unison. Ah! And all you could hear was little water droplets throwing up. And you have the little water droplets in the kid's underpants also throwing up. And the mom came along and picked up the clothes, which were all going, or and left the child in the water and took the clothes to the washing machine, where soap was applied to the dirty clothes. And the water said, ha, as it became clean from all the nasty kid juices. Ugh. And then the mom threw them into the dryer. And the little water drop, which was a snowflake, became a gas again. Back up into a cloud. And the snowflake said, oh no. Ah! The end.
That was another story with John Sugar Jr., a Marine Corps dad. Check the show notes for links to his Patreon and website at creativegrumbles.com.